Jaya Gopi Janaballa
Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Jai Sri Prabhupada ki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksuramiritam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Paridana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Sri Sakamritam Sham Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Surabhyai Namah Om Surabhyai Namah Om Surabhyai Namah Mukham karoti vasalam tvangom langayate girim Yat kripat mahabandhe Sri Garam Dinatharanam Yat kripat mahabandhe Sri Garam Dinatharanam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. So we'd like to begin by thanking all of you for coming and attending this program this morning. It has been many years since I have had the good opportunity to visit this part of Malaysia, south side of Malaysia, practically touching Singapore, I came to know. So I would like to quote one very important verse that I'm sure many of us know and have heard many times. It is there in Srila Prabhupada's purports. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Go Vindaya Namo Namaha. Go Brahmana. The word go and Brahmana we find many times in especially the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is for all of us very significant because all of us are connected with and trying to revive what we call Vedic culture. Vaishnava culture is Vedic culture, where everyone understands that the primary goal and purpose of life is to go back to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, isn't it, in the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we all know, has descended 500 years ago to make the process very easy by introducing the Harinam Sankirtan movement, the chanting of the holy name, which is, as we all know, the Yugdharma for the sage of Kali. Now, 500 years ago, we didn't have the kind of industrialization that we see today. And therefore, majority of people at that time, majority means like probably 95% of the population were living in villages. And if we look at the most so-called progressive and advanced modern society, means America, specifically USA, it has, the table has turned around. 95% of the people live in cities, practically speaking. So, in the last so many years, at least 25 years or more, myself and other devotees, we are trying to give emphasis on this whole understanding of what is called Vrindavan village lifestyle. And of course, places like Malaysia, practically speaking all Asian countries, historically, majority of the population on the planet used to live in Asian countries because you don't have to heat your home in the wintertime with firewood or all kinds of complicated arrangements, and you can grow food all year round. I'm from Canada, and unless you really want to do some nice preaching, I invite you to come to Canada, otherwise better not to go to Canada. Western countries have evolved in the last maybe 200 years approximately, mainly because people want to increase their standard of living, want to make more money, want to be so-called more happy. But most people who have this understanding or misunderstanding is because they have not read the Bhagavad Gita. They don't know that actually, atato brahma jigyasa, now that we have attained this human form of life, we begin to understand that the primary goal and objective is to become self-realized. So it's very interesting actually how in Vedic culture, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only gives us information about the spiritual world and the primary, main activity, only activity actually going on in the spiritual world, which is bhakti, devotional service to Krishna. But Krishna is very compassionate, very much understanding also that for those of us, all of us, who are here in the material world, how we can best utilize our body, how we can best utilize the material nature, the material energy to actually facilitate and reawaken our dormant Krishna consciousness. And in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th chapter, that 9th chapter is describing the passing away of grandfather Bhishmadev. Isn't it? Grandfather Bhishmadev is lying on his bed of arrows. This is after the battle of Kurukshetra. And this is nicely arranged by Krishna because Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling very sad that so many people have died just because of me. And therefore, Lord Krishna, he chose grandfather Bhishmadev to actually give him comfort, to instruct him. And he instructed him for many, many days, many weeks actually. And when he begins to instruct, this is very important, when he begins to instruct Yudhisthira Maharaj, he speaks about Varnashrama. He tells him that actually now you're the king, not only the king, but actually you're now the emperor of the world. And the very first instruction is that you should, as the new emperor of the world, make sure that everyone is serving within the established Vedic system of Varna and Ashrama. And in the purport, in the very first line of that purport, Srila Prabhupada, he explains that this instruction is very important because when we follow Krishna's system, isn't it? When we follow Krishna's spiritual system and when we follow Krishna's material system, and I'll be explaining this as we begin this presentation, then that material system, which is called Varnashrama, helps to accelerate the development of our Krishna consciousness. Who would like to accelerate becoming more purified? Who would like to accelerate going back to Goloka Vrindavan? I think everyone. Whoever is not raising their hand must be sleeping. That happens sometimes. So therefore, our acharyas, beginning with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they have put a very important word in front of Varnashrama, which is there of course also, Daiva. Daiva Varnashrama Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is the eternal Dharma for all of us. And Daiva means, Prabhupada translates Daiva Varnashrama as divine culture. Divine culture. So all of us as practicing devotees, we are endeavoring to practice this divine culture, which ultimately means bhakti or devotional service to Krishna. So since we have limited time, some very important points that we can go through. Important to know that at the bottom, as it mentions, Prabhupada explained how this is still yet to be taken up. It is 50% of his yet to be fulfilled mission. Therefore, we have different initiatives in different places. One of them that I'm connected with is called Varnashram College Foundation. That's in Sri Nandigram in Sri Ramayapur. And later on we will be sharing this link at the bottom here where you can get more information. Yeah. Now, there are a number of communities in different countries that are, we could say, coming together to help promote this whole idea of promoting, make Vrindavan villages, and I'm just showing a few of them here. One is called Vedic Eco Village in Canada, another one is called Sustainable Eco Lines in the US, Gita Nagari Sayadri in Bharat, that means India, Gita Grama, also in India, Sayadri Sevak Kunj, Vaikunta Farm in Switzerland, Gita Nagari in Togo, 8 Sharanagati village in Canada, and the last but not least, 9, Mother Farm in Ukraine. We're going there shortly actually. And Yashurapur Eco Village in the Kingdom of Cambodia. Who has been to Cambodia? Not yet. No. There is a Kingdom of Cambodia not so far from Malaysia, actually, Angkor Wat. So we have a project there, it's called Yashurapur Eco Village. So this presentation is divided as follows. Whoops, something happened here. Yeah. Number one is Sanatana Dharma in two features. Number two, Vedic culture as agrarian culture. I'll explain all this briefly in a few minutes. Number three, three gifts of nature. We should all know what are the three gifts of nature. Number four, Chatur Vidya, the four Vedic sciences. Number five, ISKCON and four movements. And number six, what our Vaishnava Acharyas speak. So actually that's quite a bit of condensed material. So I humbly request you to try and follow, because yeah. So Sanatana Dharma and two features. It's very important to understand that Dharma is both in terms of this material body, this material world, and that is called Varnashrama Dharma, as mentioned here. And on the spiritual level, the spiritual norm is called actually Jaiva Dharma. What is the meaning of Jaiva Dharma? Who knows? What is Jaiva? Hare Krishna. Anyone? No? What is Jaiva?
Jiva.
Yes. There's a book written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Jaiva Dharma. Yeah. So Jaiva Dharma means the dharma of the jiva, isn't it? So it is absolutely essential for all of us to understand these two levels of dharma. So we begin on the left side here. On the bodily plane, Swadharma. Swadharma means what is our natural dharma, is called Varnashrama Dharma. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 31. Man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashrama Dharma. Yes? And then we go on the right side, what is spiritual Swadharma? So real Swadharma is spiritual Swadharma. And what is the occupation of that Swadharma? Jiver Surabhyai Nitya Krishna Das. That is spiritual Swadharma from Bhagavad Gita to 31, same actually. So as devotees, as practicing devotees, we need to balance, basically. We need to balance these two levels of dharma. Okay, now we go to Vedic culture as being an agrarian culture. We simply have to think about and remember Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is where Krishna, as we know, performed his lila, his eternal pastimes in Vrindavan, and those eternal pastimes are very much connected with cows and the land, isn't it? All villages, if they follow the Vedic practice, their economy will be based on cows and land. The real scientific and sustainable economy, Vedic economy, and we're not understanding this generally. In modern day society, most people, and even unfortunately most of our devotees, are not truly understanding this aspect of Vedic economy. So, in other words, if we look at what is taking place around the world today, what is being promoted? Urbanization. Modernization means urbanization. Everyone wants to go to Singapore. I mean, everyone wants to go to... Sure. Everyone wants to go... Where to make money? But Prabhupada, he went to New York. To make money? No. But actually, Prabhupada, he presented this whole philosophy, Vedic culture, and he became a multimillionaire, isn't it? I mean, we have so many temples and so many devotees, etc. We cannot estimate the wealth. Prabhupada started, he was penniless. He was penniless because he didn't have any pennies, he had rupees. And he only had a few rupees also. Yeah. So, number three three gifts of nature. And this is very crucial. We are missing this point. Anyone who lives in cities and is disconnected actually with village or with country will not be able to easily understand these three gifts of nature. That one by one we will connect. And we cannot separate these three gifts of nature. And we all actually depend on these three gifts of nature. Unfortunately, modern day society, we're trying to live in such a way that we are disconnected with these three gifts of nature. These three gifts of nature are spoken actually by Grandfather Bhishmadev. Grandfather Bhishmadev gives many very important, obviously, instruction. He's one of our 12 Mahajans, isn't it? He is one of the authorities on so many different subject matters. And he's the one also in the same conversation with Yudhishthira Maharaj speaks about these three gifts of nature. Who can say, who can guess? The first one actually got it right, yeah. You must have seen this presentation before. No. Because he's following, right? Yes, the first gift of nature, mother cow. And second gift of nature, very closely connected with cow. Lamb. Huh? Lamb. Very good. My God, they have some transcendental vision here, even before it comes up. Yeah? Okay, let's see if you can get the third one. Number 3, third gift of nature. Knowledge. Cultivation of knowledge. Cultivation of both spiritual knowledge and also material knowledge. But Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge are the Vedas. Vedas, they contain what is called Shruti and Smriti. Shruti Shastra and Smriti Shastra. One is dealing especially with spiritual, transcendental subject matters, and the other one is dealing with things connected with Dharma Shastra, material subject matters. So these three actually, we have in modern day society disconnected ourselves largely with cows, with lamb. You know, who lives with cows? Who has cows? How many devotees here are having cows at home? Not many hands up. Yeah. So the Vedic norm is that majority of people are meant to actually live in villages, meant to have cows, not only 1 or 2 cows. Even 10, 15 years ago in India, people had 10, 20 cows. Every family, isn't it? Some of you, maybe your parents or your grandparents or great-grand, if you go back a little bit, we're farmers, connected with the cow, connected with the lamb. I mean, the whole of Malaysia was like that. The whole of Asia was like that. But we need to understand how, in modern day society, we have deviated from what is called the Vedic norm. And because we have deviated in this way, we have created a very complicated system, very chaotic, very disruptive and destructive, actually. Modern day society, Prabhupada is telling, modern day civilization is a killing civilization. Killing civilization. I mean, look at the wars going on now, isn't it? Look at all the animals being killed every single day. Look at all the abortions taking place. This is modern killing civilization. We have lost the proper understanding of the value of life. All forms of life, not only human life, all forms of life are sacred, isn't it? And none of us should tamper with life. And we can only properly understand how to utilize the different resources that material nature is giving when we follow the directives that are given in our Shastra. So 3 gifts of nature, they're like mothers. If a child doesn't have a mother, then he will generally grow up with some emotional disturbances, isn't it? So modern day society is like motherless and therefore very disturbed. Yes. These represent three mothers who are essential for both material and spiritual well-being of all individuals. Now, Chaturvidya, this is something also very, very vital, very essential, which are the basis, we could say, of Vedic society, Vedic culture. And these are four sciences. Vidya in Sanskrit means knowledge, also means science. And of course, the ultimate science or the highest science is spiritual science, and culminating in bhakti or devotional service. So Prabhupada, as you may know, he gave that order in 1974. That means how many years ago? Mathematics, quick, 52 years ago. 52 years ago, Prabhupada said every center, every temple, every center, you're a center here, should also have a Varnashram college. We should be teaching different subject matters, not only spiritual subject matters, but material subject matters that are connected with our Vedic culture. So what is the first of the four? It's called Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki means the Vedic science of philosophy. And that is generally, in Vedic culture, meant especially for what is called the Dvijas. Dvijas means the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas. Because they are the ones who go to Gurukul and receive what is called, they receive academic formal education. The second one is Trayi. Trayi means Vedic education, the science for the Brahmanas. And there are specific books of knowledge meant for the Brahmanas. It's called Chaturdasa Vidya, 14 books of knowledge. Number 3, Dandaniti, Vedic politics. Modern day politics are not very good, but that doesn't mean we throw away politics. The science of governance, very important. The Pandavas, they went to Gurukul, isn't it, to learn the science of politics, Dandaniti. And the fourth is called Varta. Varta means the science of economy. In the Vedic culture, the science of economy is defined in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishi Gorakshavanijam Vaisha Karma Swabhavajam. Krishi means agriculture. Not today's modern agro-business, so-called agriculture, but actually natural, organic, simple agriculture. And Goraksha, of course, means protection of cows. And we cannot, as we are doing in modern day society, we cannot separate cows from the land. We've been doing that now for we have introduced machines, isn't it? We have replaced the bull. We're sending, of course, both bull and cows to slaughterhouse. And as a result, we have so many ecological problems, especially in terms of proper production of food. We're not able to produce food that is healthy because the soil has become infected by all of the different chemical pesticides, etc., that we're using, isn't it? So these are meant to be actually 4 faculties that we introduce in Varnashram College, where one is meant to systematically learn and study how we should be living, how we should be interacting with material nature, and how we should be in a more simple manner meeting our different necessities of life. I need a clock. That clock is far away. Yeah. Okay, now we go to, this is also something important which many of our devotees maybe didn't get a chance to hear about this. ISKCON in 4 movements. It could also be called ISKCON in 4 features, just like we have Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Panchatattva. Panchatattva So Prabhupada spoke about, I'm using the word movement because Prabhupada actually used that term. Who has read a very important essay called, okay, got it, Gita Nagari, essay Gita Nagari. Who has heard about Gita Nagari essay? Hare Krishna. Okay, you heard about it? Okay. Gita Nagari. Of course, you're all from Malaysia, so I think you know what is Gita Nagari. Gita means Bhagavad Gita, and Nagari, Nagara, I don't know if they use the word Nagara. Nagara means village, town, community, where people live, isn't it? Not Nagari. So Prabhupada wrote a small essay that he published in 1956 in his Back to Godhead magazine. Very important essay. All of you can read it. Actually, it's in the folio. It's not been published, unfortunately, as a book, but it's in the folio. The folio, anyone know what the folio is? Anyone has the folio? Folio is all of the books. You have a folio? Yeah. Veda base. It's also called Veda base. I recommend at least some devotees should get a copy, because all of Prabhupada's books, all of his lectures, all of his conversations are in what is called a folio. So if you want to find out anything, you could just, go in a little bit like, Google. You can Google Prabhupada's writings, etc. So that essay Gita Nagari is there, and you can read it. And I'm just taking this one section, one small, very small section of Gita Nagari essay. So what I'm presenting here, actually, not only did Prabhupada write it in 1956, but he also wrote it in 1949. That means 7 years before that. In 1949, that's also in the folio, he wrote a letter to Dr. Patel, who was the deputy minister in India. And he was explaining to him because Gandhi had just left, and in that context Prabhupada was giving some suggestions. And this evolved actually in his writing in his Back to Godhead magazine, 1956, which, as we will see, is actually describing how the preaching of Mahaprabhu's movement should be taking place, and how Prabhupada, when he went so many years after that to the Western countries, he introduced actually these four movements. But as we will see, only 3 of them have been, I would say, quite strongly established, and the 4th one is yet to be addressed. So the first one, Prabhupada calls it Sankirtan movement. What is the Sankirtan movement? Chanting the holy names and distributing books, isn't it? We're still doing it, and that was the main focus in the beginning. And that's how Lord Chaitanya started his movement also, isn't it? 500 years ago. After chanting for 1 year in the house of Srivas Thakur, only a small handful of very confidential devotees were chanting together at night time. Other uninvited people could not come. Then after 1 year they decided, okay, let's bring this out and distribute the mercy to everyone. Prabhupada did something very similar when he went to New York. He went to Townsend Square Park, sat under a tree, and started chanting Hare Krishna. So this is how when we go to a place, we start chanting, and we attract attention. When people start coming, then we establish a temple. That's called, Prabhupada called it, temple worship movement, which is natural because you need a place where people can come and have darshan of the Lord, come to know, well, what is this Hare Krishna, etc. And Number 3, Prabhupada called it spiritual initiation movement, training those who come, training a congregation, educating to the point that people become serious, they become knowledgeable, they want to commit themselves, and they take initiation, and in this way they become part of Lord Krishna's eternal family. And now the fourth one, Prabhupada called it actually classless society movement, which actually means Daiva Varnashrama. Now sometimes devotees ask, well, why did Prabhupada call it classless society? Classless society, generally, first understanding is that there are no classes, classless, right? But Prabhupada used the word classless with the following meaning, that although there are classes, because everyone is focused on serving Krishna, everyone is a devotee, aspiring devotee, so therefore there is one center, there is one same identical goal and objective, so therefore there is no unnecessary clash between the classes. Yeah. So classless society means clashless society. So in 1968, as we know, Srila Prabhupada, he started New Vrindavan in America. But because the movement was quite young, especially after his departure, the first three that received the most attention were Sankirtan movement, temple worship movement, and spiritual initiation movement. So this fourth one, the Prabhupada, actually just 2 weeks before Srila Prabhupada left the planet in Vrindavan, there's a video recording whereby Prabhupada is very weak, can hardly speak, and then in his explanation of a point to the devotees, he refers to the need and the importance to introduce Varnashrama Dharma so that people, why? So that people can be brought to the level of goodness. Varnashrama helps one to initially come to the mode of goodness, and from that mode of goodness then we can go beyond ordinary goodness and come to the level of pure goodness, which is bhakti, devotional service, isn't it? So after, so this is, as I mentioned, from the essay Gita Nagari, published in Back to Godhead magazine in 1956. So what our Vaishnavacharyas speak, I think we have maybe, we have a few minutes. Jai Sushi Gornitai Ki Jai Sri Panchatattva Ki Jai. So I want to leave a few minutes for maybe a few questions or comments that might be there. I'll just choose a few of these statements, especially by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and by Srila Prabhupada. So what does, I'll just go directly to the quote. This is written actually to Saraswati, means Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the solution to this problem means the Smarta Brahmanas were criticizing the Vaishnavas at that time for making people who are not born in Brahmana families into Brahmanas, for making people, giving sannyas to people who were not born in India, things like that. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the solution to this problem is to establish the order of Daivi Varnashrama Dharma. Something you have started doing, you should know that to be the real service to the Vaishnavas. Because pure devotional conclusions are not being preached, all kinds of superstitions and bad concepts are being called devotion by such solo sampradayas. And then from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote many books actually. One of them is Sajana Toshani, whereby he mentions if one is, I'm quoting the second one, is situated in the principle of Varnashrama, then his human nature cannot be lost. Rather, one can receive huge opportunity and advantage in to cultivate Krishna consciousness. And the third, Varnashrama Dharma is the society of the Vaishnavas in their conditional stage. So if one is already liberated, then Varnashrama is secondary. But as long as we are still maintaining even one iota of material desire, according to Shastra, according to our Acharyas, we should work within and serve within the system of Varnashrama. And a devotee who desires to properly pass his life still accepts his duties according to Varnashrama, as those duties are favorable to devotional service and counted as part of devotional service. So it's not that Varnashrama Dharma is like karma kanda activities. It is actually counted as devotional service. So like this, I'll just go quickly. Whoops, oh, I don't have the others. Anyways, I think I will maybe close here because we have 10 minutes, a little bit than 10 minutes, for hopefully 1 or 2 questions or more. Yeah. And before I forget, sometimes I do, it's Kali Yuga, we tend to forget. But I have a gift for everyone. Wow. Swamiji has come with a gift for everyone. I have a free gift. Gift means free, of course. Yeah. So I have a free gift. This gift is actually a link. We could say Varnashrama link. And I'll just go back here because actually it's at the beginning of this presentation. Actually, next time I should put, whoops, yeah, it's at the bottom there. So this link will give you opportunity to actually connect, and there's one very important book called Speaking About Varnashrama, and I have with me actually my assistant. Here's Jayadev. He's going to stand up right now, even if you're lifting up. So Jayadev, he usually handles this last part of the program. He's become very expert in getting you all connected. So whoever has a cell phone, which means most of you, some of you don't, and probably should not also. Actually, most of us should not also. But for the time being, if we use it in Krishna service, it's okay. So this is a nice way to use it in Krishna service. Later on, we'll put the, what is it? Yeah. So I think right after this there is arati, is it? Or what?
Yes,
huh?
After class.
Offering.
Now offering ongoing.
Now offering.
After class, then
After class, darshan. So today that means there's going to be 2 darshans. Huh? Yes. So any comment or question? And then maybe after the darshan, then you can see Jayadev, he'll be happy to help you connect with this link here. At least one question or comment. Yes.
The question is,
Yes.
I understand about Varnashram and daily Varnashram
Yes.
system. How can we practically apply this in our society, and where we have, even among devotees,
Yes.
we have a lot of differences. They say, oh, this is initiated, non-initiated, newcomer, non-newcomer.
Yes.
So the differentiation is always there.
Yes.
How can we have an undivided society?
Sarvapadi vinirmuktam. We should learn that verse because upadi means differences, isn't it? So the more we actually learn to practice bhakti devotional service, then those differences will be minimized and will one day not be there. And we will understand more easily how to actually implement, regardless of where we may be living now, because majority of us, as we all know, are not living in a village, are not having cows, are not growing our own food, but we should know that it is important and we can begin, regardless of where we are living, regardless of what we are doing, we can begin, and we should, as soon as possible, reconnect with Mother Nature. We should reconnect with our 3 mothers. unless we learn to reconnect with our three mothers, we will not so easily be able to reconnect with Krishna. It's that simple. These three mothers, cows, land, and cultivation of knowledge. Why do we have every day Bhagavatam class, discourse, or Bhagavad Gita? Is to reconnect with Krishna, isn't it? So the material, the spiritual process to reconnect especially is Sravanam Kirtanam, isn't it? These are the two main activities in the 9 processes of bhakti, of devotional service. So that is connecting, reconnecting on the spiritual level. How to connect on the material level in terms of what is recommended by Krishna, cows and lamb. So majority of us cannot tomorrow morning have a cow. We cannot tomorrow morning maybe live in a village, but we can hear more from Srila Prabhupada in this one book, which is actually, it's a free digital book that you will get when you download this link. It's called Speaking About Varnashrama. And Prabhupada explains nicely how we can do this regardless of where we are located. So of course, yes, what is preventing us from actually minimizing or removing completely all kinds of differences that prevent us actually from maybe progressing individually or progressing collectively is all of our different subtle and maybe not so subtle anarthas or impurities that are there actually within our heart, isn't it? So when we do things both in terms of spiritual activities as well as material, for example, I'm just coming from what is called Gita Nagari Baru, which is our village. We have a village in the island of Sumatra. And by the way, you're all invited to come there sometime. Not so far away, right? We have 175 devotees living there. We have cows, we have 45 families. And they're making their own incense with cow dung. Yeah, cow dung incense is very purifying. And most of us are using commercial incense. Yeah, I'm just giving one small example. I mean, we could give many examples. Soap. Most of us are using commercial soap, which is actually very bad for the body. We should be using natural toothpaste, isn't it? As opposed to commercial. So many things, even the clothes we're wearing. Most of us are wearing synthetic cloth, which is actually bad for the health. So all of these things are influencing not only our body but our consciousness. And therefore it's preventing us from actually more easily or more nicely practicing our Krishna consciousness, isn't it? When we are sick, isn't it? When we have a fever, then it's hard to chant the holy name. It's hard to perform our devotional activities. So like this, we can learn from these instructions, from the Shastra, what Prabhupada has taught us. And the more we are in line with, in a practical way, then we will be more healthy, we will be more united in all of our different activities. It's natural, there will be differences. We're all individuals, but these will be minimized and they will not be obstructions for our progress, either individual or collective progress in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. I should have brought, actually I have a sample, remind me next time to bring a sample of incense so that the devotees can see. It's very healthy actually to burn cow dung incense. Yeah. It's very good for the cow dung and cow urine is very good to clean and purify our home as well. It's antiseptic, etc. Goark, yeah, Goark, yeah, Goark. You know, Goark is distilled cow urine. In India, Goark, the price of Goark is more than the price of milk. I mean, pure, wholesome ahimsa milk is very rare, and Goark is also rare. Yeah. Any other? So we want to thank the devotees for, yes? Huh?
Is it okay or can I ask question?
Yeah, well, I'm the guest, you know. Yeah.
No, Maharaj. And additionally, Maharaj said about the knowledge. About the knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's about the politics. Part of the knowledge is the politic knowledge is, as Maharaj says, right? There's one.
Well, one of the vidyas is
Vidya,
science of
yeah,
politics.
Nidhi. So Nidhi, right? Vidya, Nidhi is politics. So in let's say in our daily life or managing a center, how do you use this politics in good way?
Yes, yes. Well, first of all, we need to be trained to understand what is actually good politics, because most of us know only what is bad politics. The whole of Kali Yuga is full of bad politics, isn't it? So therefore, the need for systematic learning, therefore the need for Varnashrama college, isn't it? So every center can begin. I'm sure you're already doing. You're teaching maybe somebody how to play cartels or how to sing, or so many different activities are there, especially for children. So politics is a specialized area of learning, which is especially, I mean, for those who have that kind of inclination, both Brahminical subject matters, which are very, it's like astrology. Not everyone can learn astrology because it's a very, you know, it requires a certain level of understanding, a certain level of intelligence, and it requires generally many years of study, isn't it? Gurukul is like 12, 14 years of study. So we can, politics generally has to do with how to, there are many aspects of politics. One important aspect is administration. Administration. Of course, I mean, depending on the context, if we look at modern context, most of the political activities taking place are totally, you know, so far away from what is meant to be the Vedic norm in terms of politics, in terms of governance as well, in terms of laws. You know, there's so many laws enacted and resolution passed in different governments that are actually totally against the Vedic norm. We can and we should have devotees, we should encourage and facilitate whenever possible some devotees to learn. There are books of knowledge regarding politics, regarding the science of politics, just like there are books of knowledge for, especially for brahmanas. So these are more specialized, and it's good to connect with, like in a few, at the end of the month I'm going to Ukraine actually, where they are officially starting a Varnashram college, isn't it? So we have in Mayapur some years back started also everywhere, at least on a small scale, the book to begin with, I would say, is the one I mentioned a little earlier. Again, that's available on this link called Speaking About Varnashram. So anyone who reads this book and discusses, we encourage devotees to have what is called a study circle, you know. Like once a week, a small group of devotees, maybe small group of Matajis and small group of Grihasthas or small group of youth, they can read, just like we read Lilamrita. To know more about Srila Prabhupada, reading the Lilamrita is very helpful. So to know more about Varnashrama, then this book, which is actually only the different statements, it's the most important statements made by Srila Prabhupada, will gradually help us to understand about so many aspects, including politics. You're interested in politics? We need some people to be interested in all of these different aspects. Yeah? So we can all close or end our program by together repeating Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki, Jai Samasta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur Pimalande. Oh, I just turned it on.